Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of A Holy Rust Revival. Look, I wasn't going to shoot this video, I really wasn't, but I got to thinking as I started tearing into this particular situation, who am I to deny you the ability to continue to stay on this journey with me, getting this 1973 CJ5 ready for a trail ride? And you know, the more I thought about that, the more guilty I felt. Some of you have really invested time in watching my videos progress, and we're reaching an ultimate goal, and I just want you to be on the journey with me the whole way. So, as boring as this video might be, I don't know, you might learn a little something from it. I'm working on floor pans in this CJ5, and honestly, up until right now, and by the way, it's Father's Day, June 2024, those holes in the floor pan have been fine with me because air has been blowing underneath across the exhaust pipes and creating some heat coming up in the cab. But in June in Mississippi, that's not good. I drove it today and it was 95 degrees and that hot air was blowing up my britches leg and it was just to the point of being intolerable to drive. The wind coming in was nice, but the hot air coming from below was not good. So I just think this needs to be priority on this trail ride coming up, even though where we're going it's going to be a lot cooler, but also mud and dirt and sand comes up through that and kind of gets on my shoes, and I'm okay with it, but mama, that might be a different story. So y'all, let me spin the camera around and show you the shape that I'm in now with these floor pans in this old CJ5. And y'all forgive me if you hear a fan going on in the background. I love y'all, but it's hot in Mississippi and we've got to have air blowing. Oh, and I just noticed that beautiful sunset. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Wow. I usually take a Jeep ride every day during sunset just so I can enjoy that beauty. You know what? Come on, Kip. Kip, let's go look at this. We got to go. I'm sorry, y'all. We got to see this sunset. My goodness, I'm glad I didn't miss that right there. Hey, thank y'all. I would have had my head in that Jeep the whole time. And if I hadn't cut this camera on, I wouldn't have seen this sunset. Oh my goodness. Y'all, our Creator is awesome. God is amazing. And honestly, the way that He speaks to me is through His creation. When I look out across the vastness of what He created and the colors in the sky and the colors in the grass, and y'all, we have so much to be thankful for. Oh, to God be the glory. Okay, all right, that's good. Let's get back to the Jeep. All right, thank y'all for that little sunset tour, going with me on that. All right, here's what we got. We've got some holes, and it's right behind basically where the tire kicks up on this kick panel. This is called a kick panel. This has all been replaced before, and that's some very thick steel. Whoever did that did a pretty fantastic job putting in some pretty thick stuff. That'll, I don't think will ever rust through in my lifetime again. But as you can see, we've got some issues over here as well. Same thing on the driver's side. That's where all that hot air is coming up through and going up my britches leg, and the exhaust pipe is just right behind or right below that hole. This one in particular right here on the inside of the frame rail, it just kicks up all kind of hot air from the engine. But y'all, let me show you something that's very unique to the 71 to 75 CJ5. And by the way, I have just removed these dust covers off the shifters and exposed all of this. But one unique thing I love about this 73 CJ5, do you see this transmission tunnel cover? It's got bolts in it all the way around. and this whole thing will bolt out. So what's good about that? Well, the more modern models, the 76 and up, just have this hole for the shifter boots to come out of. This has the whole thing. You can do some major work on the back side of your engine with all of this removed, and on the more modern versions, that does not come out. That's molded into the tub. And it could be because rust has a potential to get in those seams right there, which it has done, and I'm going to fix all of that. But I can't wait to show you what this looks like with all of this removed. I have a feeling that we're going to be able to see every bell housing bolt in the back of the transmission, everything to do with the drive shaft and the transfer case and the yoke and even the yoke back here on the main drive output. I think we're going to be able to access all of that from the top side. So let me get busy here a minute. Some of these bolts are being stubborn. I broke one off right there. This one is just turning on me, and I hadn't even gotten to the driver's side yet. I've had 2 or 3 that have come out okay. But give me a minute, and when I bring you back, I'm going to try to have all of this removed. It's just going to take a little time grinding some bolt heads off and just working with it, being persistent. All right, I'll be back with you in a minute. Hey, welcome back. I'm not talking to you. I was not talking to you. Get down. Get down. Oh, this dog loves me too much. Good gracious. Get out of the way. Let me go over here, y'all. So sorry. I can't do anything without that dog being right on top of me. Stay on that seat. Okay, all right. So I got the bottom piece off, and I say bottom piece because that bracket is 2 pieces, or the cover rather. There's a top piece and then there's a bottom piece. But look at how amazing that is, y'all. If you have any mechanical prowess to you at all, that's amazing that you can get to absolutely everything. You can get to the bolts to the back of the transfer case. Come on, get down. All right, real quick, let me get back on this. You can get to the bolts on the back of the transmission very easily. And when I take this one off, I'm going to be able to see every bolt to the back of the bell housing on the transmission. But I wanted to show you one thing. He thinks we're going somewhere. And look, I've trained him to love the Jeep, and I can't get on him. You know, you can't, because he loves the Jeep. And if I whip him now, that would just be terrible, wouldn't it? But I got to show you one thing. With any project, there's always one bolt, and there's a nut back behind the heater box that I've got to get off. And it's just going to be painstaking to get it there, but I'm not going to go this far without taking that top plate off and fixing the rust behind it. So give me another minute. I need to endure a lot of dog licks. I don't know, it's when I cut the camera on that he starts to get all excited, and maybe it's because I'm talking. Otherwise, I'm just in the zone and grinding, but when I get on the camera, I start talking, and then he gets excited. So, okay, Jeep lover, I need to teach you to unload. We know about load up. We need to load down or get out or something. We still have a lot of learning to do. By the way, here's the cover taken out. I've got a little rust patching to do over here. Might be a little bit in that corner. Got some issues over here. Now you may be asking, what is this round thing for? On the older CJs, the brake master cylinder was under the floorboard, so you had to take that cover off to access the brake master cylinder. But that is left over from the old tooling from the very early CJs. This model CJ has the master cylinder on the firewall like a modern vehicle. So that doesn't necessarily have to stay in there. There's a possibility that I may take that out and replace that with a solid piece of metal, because I don't know that I would ever have to take that off. And apparently nobody has ever taken it off because the bolts are completely rusted up. I had to cut them off just to get that bracket out. Okay, let me get busy on that one bolt and I'll be back with you and show you the top piece out. It's probably an hour since the last time I spoke to you, and I'm not gonna lie to you, getting that other panel out was a bit of a struggle. But look, look, is that amazing? That you can see the whole back side of the engine and see every one of the bell housing bolts. I'm floored. And look, I'm with you. Some of you are starting to scream and holler in your mind saying, why can't manufacturers do that again today? Why can't they make something easy to work on? Do you know how easy it would be to replace this transmission without pulling that motor? I mean, look, it's no struggle whatsoever to get the bolts out. It would be no struggle to get on both sides of this transmission and line the splines up in the clutch. I mean, you wouldn't have to do it from underneath. You wouldn't have to be laying on your back. You could literally do it from top and get everything lined up and bolted up. Look, y'all, there is great value in bringing old vehicles back to life because people actually thought about the individuals who would be working on these things in the future. And that's one reason I love the 71 to 75 CJ5 because of this. It is so easy to work on. All right, so let's evaluate. Of course, I knew I had to fix this in the floor, but I'm also gonna have to replace this lip right here in this section. From here up, it's not rusted out, even though I need to treat some rust. And I'll need to maybe fix some of the holes where I had to cut the bolts out and maybe tack some nuts underneath where I can easily take this out again in the future. Somebody is crunching on something. What? Look, you're eating Bondo. Quit it. You're stupid. Do not eat Bondo. Do I have to tell you that? No, that's not a doggy treat. Oh my goodness, y'all. Dog has a stomach for a rock for a stomach, whatever you want to say. All right, let me take you over here. Let's look at it from the passenger side perspective. I've got to fix this lip right there. There's a little bit right here. So I'll just probably cut out and just come all the way down to here and replace that lip. Not too bad all along here, but I do know that I've got to cut out a degree of this and replace it. Other than that, it's not bad. Oh, speaking of bad, I showed you the bolt that was behind the heater box, but let me show you something else. There was also a bolt. Can you see that bolt right there? There was a bolt that was holding the heater box in on that cover plate. And after I got the other bolt out that held the cover plate, it wouldn't come off, and that was the most stubborn little bolt of all right there. And that's what caused me to, well, I wouldn't say I said bad things, but there's no doubt I thought it in my mind. Again, what I mentioned was that this was tooling from the old CJ5, and there's no doubt that this heater box up here was adapted to this old Jeep tub, so it created some issues that couldn't be gotten around, I'm sure, with the engineers to be able to put that box in there and hold it steady. But again, it was worth every effort to get all this out, fix the rust, but just to see how easy it is to work on. Again, I'm amazed, and I know you are too, to see something such as that. Okay, y'all, this was about the point I was going to get to before I go to bed tonight. It's about 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, Father's Day. It's been a good Father's Day, but I got to take my mother to a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so guy needs to get a little bit of rest. We've got about a 6-hour drive ahead of us, 3 hours there and 3 hours back, so I need to be in good shape for that. So I'm just going to scratch my head a little bit and get my metal, find my metal to do all of this and get everything set down in place so the next time I come in I can get busy. Oh, here's the there's the top section if you wanted to see it. It actually has the gas pedal attached to it. And it's completely rust free. There's no rust in that whatsoever, so I won't have to do anything to that other than sand it up good, clean it, give it a good coat of paint. Okay, y'all, good night. Kip says good night. Let's call it a night and reconvene at a later time. Thanks, God bless. Hey y'all, it's the next day. I'm gonna try to do a little bit this afternoon, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not feeling very well. And let me explain why, but it's all because of that thing right there. Do you see stuff all over my arm? Hold on, let me turn the camera around. Y'all, I have poison ivy from the tip of my fingers to my ears on both arms. On both arms. It is itching like the dickens. Oh, it's terrible. And the only thing I can figure is I took that thing down to the creek yesterday or the day before to let him go swimming. And when he got out, he was wallering around, you know, trying to dry off, but I think he was wallering in a poison ivy bed. And of course, I petted my dog, and I've got it on my arms, I've got it on the side of my face, I've got it on my neck and my ears. He must have just literally obliterated a whole poison ivy field, and doesn't look like he's itching that bad, does it? Oh my goodness. That's just our first story from my new dog, I guess. Okay. All right. So what I think I'm going to do this evening is work on this cover a little bit, since it's up here on the bench, and I'm going to try to cut out, you know, all of this cancered sheet metal. I might even replace all the way down to there in that joint, because that's a good straight flat piece right there. Let me scratch my old noggin on this just a little bit, and yeah, I'll come back to you. Hey, my advice to y'all is don't be scared, just cut. So I cut this piece out, and I came over here and I used it as a pattern to cut out on some good stock here. So give me a minute, I'm gonna cut that out. I'll use my cutoff wheel right there, and just keep grinding until it fits up where it needs to perfectly, and we'll tack that joker in. But I'm gonna leave this piece so I can know where and how to line up that edge, and then when I get that in place, I'll start cutting here. But don't be scared, y'all. Just cut out the old cancer, get after it, let it rip, Tater Chip. All right, let me do the boring stuff, get back and grind this, cut this out, and we'll be back. Well, y'all, I got all the edges cleaned up and got that ready to tack in, but I went to crank my welder up and I'm out of welding gas. So look, I think this evening is going to be a bust. It's about to storm really bad outside. I think a fella just needs to pack it up for the night, go take some Benadryl and, you know, just lay it down. So that's what we're gonna do. It just wasn't in the cards tonight to get that welded up, but doggone it, we're gonna get after it tomorrow night. All right, y'all, good night. Hey everyone, it's about 2 or 3 days later. Fella had to lay it down 2 or 3 days because of all that poison ivy he got on him. I got a prednisone shot, not prednisone, some kind of steroid shot. Cortisone, I believe is what it was. It had a steroid in it, and it cleared everything up. I mean, I am completely clear of poison ivy, and that was 3 days ago. But I haven't slept in 2 days. I slept really good last night, so I feel good to get busy this weekend. But man, that steroid shot kept me up, and I couldn't go to sleep, and I was just miserable for 2 days. getting rid of that poison ivy and letting that steroid run through me. But I'm good now. This is where we left last time. I basically just tacked this piece in place, and now I have marked off to cut this old rusty cancer out right here. And the good thing about working on old Jeep stuff is a lot of it's just flat. It's flat with a few molds and bends in it, but I'm going to cut this out, replace that. Then I've got a little bit of mess over here I've got to work on, maybe probably down that whole line right there, but everything else is actually in very good shape. Got to figure out, I think this is part of the other bracket, but I'm going to make sure. All right, let me get busy cutting this out, replacing that part, and keep it going. I've been working on her about 45 minutes. Oh my goodness, it's always in the way. So I replaced this panel up here because there was bad rust in that corner. Remember from my other shots, there was bad rust all the way up through there. So I think got everything kind of straightened out. I'm gonna continue to sand it down a little bit, wire brush it, and throw some paint on it. And I'll bring you back in just a minute and show you what that looks like. But I don't think that was too shabby. I think it turned out all right. You might be asking yourself, Rob, why didn't you just go buy a new one of these? You can't find it. Remember I told you that parts are scarce from the 71 to 75 CJ5s because they were based on the tooling of the older CJ5s, and in 76 they just about retooled everything. Still looked like a CJ5, but everything was so different. And remember that the CJ76s and up didn't have that whole case right there. So you might be able to find something like that, but I'll honestly tell you I tried hard to find it because I knew it would save me a couple hours of time. However, I couldn't. So just had to get the old welding machine out. And use a lot of good help too. Hey y'all, I was going real good. Then the sun got just right and I had to go to the garden. There's a certain time every day that the shade hits the garden, and it's the best time to get out there and work it. Either early in the morning or late in the afternoon when that shade gets there. So it's now about 10:30 at night, and yeah, let me spin this old camera around. So right before I hit the garden, I started taking my cutoff wheel and cutting at the bottom of the floor pan. And now I'm gonna kind of sort of gauge how much of the kick panel I need to cut out. And so I'll put a strip here, and then I've got to cut out some along here and replace. Well, I got that bottom piece in and all welded up, and the top welded fine. It did well, but down here, boy, I struggled. I think what happened was somebody in the past has used a process called brazing with a bronze or brass rod, whatever it is, but they used gas welding instead of actual wire welding like I'm doing, and those metals don't mix very well, and especially right in here and right over here, it was bad. I had to take the grinder and really grind the metal down as much as I could, but I could still tell it was a little bit discolored. But that is welded solid. There's no doubt that that's going to hold. I'm just a little embarrassed to show you how bad it looks, but it's going to hold. That's some good farm boy welding right there. That's solid as a rock now. Okay, now I've got to figure out how to fix this side. It's about, it's almost 11 o'clock. And old guy's still recovering from that poison ivy, and he's tired. So I may get this side fixed and then hop over there tomorrow. All right, let's just got to stay at it. Got to keep the nose to the grind, if you know what I mean. I guess I could say pun intended, because I'm fixing to do a whole lot of grinding right here. Hey, good, beautiful morning, everybody. Oh, what a great day it is. Great day to be alive. Hope you slept well last night. Look, I wanted to give you a little shot before I start cutting things out. We're on the driver's side now. We finished that passenger side last night, thank goodness. So I had this piece of metal in stock. It's in my scrap pile, so to speak. And I'm basically just gonna cut out that whole width right there and weld it all in. I've been working on cleaning up the bottom section. Now I'm gonna take my grind off, my cut off wheel and cut off that. Okay, I'll come back to you in a minute. Hey y'all, I realize there's a long span of time between the last time I cut the camera off and now. Guy got busy today, farm stuff, and my youngest son came and we wrenched for about 2 or 3 hours today, maybe even longer. Then we had to go to town and get chicken feed, and it's been a weekend. It's hard to keep the camera rolling and keep something consistent when you're just doing all kind of stuff. But let me show you what we've gotten done today, and let's finish off this little project so we can move on to something else. And my goodness, I am so glad to be done with the floor. I'm happy with the outcome, but it's a lot of work, y'all, to repair a floor and weld in rusty metal and all that. Yeah. But hey, tell me what you think. Let's see how it turned out. Okay, well, everything is bolted in. The cover is bolted well all the way around. We had to drill and tap a lot of holes, and of course you can see the piece that I welded in, but you know, our ultimate goal was to keep the hot air from hitting us in the face from under the Jeep, and that's completely sealed off, welded just solid all the way around. That's sealed up good. Even got the old toolbox cleaned out. Man, I scraped on that rust in that thing for, oh my goodness, an hour to get as much of that out of there as possible. And it's sealed. It's sealed. You know, if this were a Cadillac I were building, I might have done a few things a little differently. But look, this is a Jeep. This is a trailer rig. And I think we've halted the rust for now. Okay, let me take you over here to the other side. This side turned out very well. Got that all welded in. I put a little seam sealer on this side to make sure it was sealed well. But I couldn't be happier with the way that all of that fit, and we put it in place. And the floor is in good shape. It is sealed off very well. Oh, I made a little addition to the shifter handle there. What do you think? You know, it's just an old WD-40 can that I cut a hole through all the way through it and stuck it on my gear shift. But if you're gonna be wrenching, you need WD-40, right? If you're hosting a Holy Rust Revival, you got to have plenty of that WD-40. So there you go. There you go. That was just a nice little added bonus. Oh, here's something else we did. We put in modern seat belts in this bad boy. Had to drill and weld in a bung up there and mount seat belt apparatus there and the bottom of the belt down here, and did the same thing on the other side. So bye-bye to the old lap belts. Maybe the law will like seeing this on me just a little bit better. And look, it's just much more safe. Now ultimately, I'll be tying this roll bar into the frame. I don't know that I'm gonna have time to do that before I leave on this trip, but we're gonna be doing some slow motion stuff. This is trip that's coming up is where we're just gonna get our feet wet, and we're gonna be very careful. All right, something else we did today. We pulled all the Sparko plugs out and ran new wires everywhere, and kind of sort of cleaned up the engine bay just a little bit. Rerouted some wires and hung the looms to the firewall where they're supposed to be hung, instead of them just draping down and landed on that hot motor. So trying to do a lot of stuff to eliminate issues that we could have on the trail. All right, like I said, it's midnight. I guess it would be Sunday morning now. If it's midnight, it's Sunday morning. I'm gonna pop a seat in here and let's see how that looks, and we're gonna call it a night. Okay, there she is with the seat stuffed in. And I couldn't be any happier than the way that has turned out. I think the seats are gonna be comfortable. The seat belts have added a nice safety feature to the old Jeep. And look, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. And we don't have to look at the ground anymore. or get dirt in our teeth. I was really wanting to make sure that Mama didn't get stuff, you know, all up in her teeth up there. So hey, let's shut this thing down, y'all. It's time to go to bed. Got church tomorrow. I actually have to teach a class in the morning. And I'm fixing to go lay it down and get up early and study. What is early though? It's already, well, 12:45, almost 1 o'clock. All right, y'all. I'll talk to you later. Next thing, what? Maybe disc brakes on the front. I'm waiting on some hoses to come in. I've got about 5 days to prepare and get ready to head out on a trip. So I don't know. I'm not going to tear into it until I have all the parts sitting on the table, on the floor, ready to go on, because I don't want to get everything torn down and then be in a bind. All right, y'all. May God bless you. Take care. And until next time.